The hidden truth about fruits and senior leg health. What no one tells you. Have you ever found yourself questioning why your legs seem to be getting weaker, even when you're eating nutritiously, exercising regularly, and following every piece of health advice you've been given? Why do those stairs in your home suddenly feel like they're becoming steeper with each passing day? Why does the simple act of getting out of your favorite chair now require more effort and time than it used to? While many people attribute these changes solely to the natural aging process, there might be something else quietly working against you, something you would never suspect. The shocking reality is that sometimes the problem isn't what you're failing to do for your health. It's actually something you're already doing consistently, day after day, without any awareness of the potential harm it might be causing. Most seniors make what appears to be a completely innocent mistake every single day, doing so with complete confidence that they're making the right choice for their health, because they've been taught throughout their entire lives that fruits are natural, wholesome, and inherently beneficial for the human body. While it's true that most fruits are indeed healthy and beneficial, here's the uncomfortable truth that very few people are willing to discuss openly. Not all fruits are necessarily appropriate or optimal for senior citizens, particularly those over the age of 60. In fact, several specific fruits, the very ones that many of us consume multiple times per week without giving it a second thought, may actually be gradually contributing to leg weakness, aggravating joint inflammation, causing knee pain, and making the simple act of walking more challenging and uncomfortable than it needs to be. These fruits that are consistently marketed and promoted as healthy choices might actually be working against your leg strength, balance, and overall mobility in ways that you never would have imagined. The truth is, as our bodies age and mature, they undergo significant changes that affect how we process and respond to different foods. Our metabolism naturally slows down, our circulation becomes less efficient, and foods that once provided us with energy and vitality can now begin to slowly work against us, particularly certain fruits that contain specific compounds. Despite their appealing sweet taste and completely innocent appearance, these fruits contain natural acids, sugars, and other chemical compounds that can negatively impact blood sugar levels, aggravate sensitive joints, and potentially weaken the muscles in your legs over time. What makes this situation even more concerning is that the damage occurs slowly, subtly, and often invisibly, developing gradually over months or even years until you suddenly find yourself experiencing that sharp, unexpected pain in your calves, that persistent and chronic ache in your thighs, or that uncomfortable tightness in your knees that appears after even the shortest of walks. Today, I'm going to reveal the top 7 fruits that individuals over the age of 60 should seriously consider avoiding or significantly limiting, especially if they want to protect their legs from chronic damage, persistent pain, and progressive deterioration. None of these fruits are as safe and harmless as they appear to be on the surface. Once you learn the complete truth about these seemingly innocent fruits, you will never look at your fruit bowl the same way again. If you truly value your strength, independence, and desire to keep your legs strong, stable, and completely pain-free, I encourage you to stay with me until the very end of this comprehensive discussion. This information could very well be the wake-up call that your body has been desperately waiting for, and it might just change your life in ways you never expected. Before we dive into our detailed list, I want to take just a moment to mention something important. If you genuinely care about your health and want to stay informed about topics that can make a real difference in your life, please consider subscribing and turning on notifications, because we regularly share crucial health facts and information that you simply won't find discussed anywhere else. If you're finding value in this content and it's speaking to you as you read it right now, please let me know by leaving a comment. Your engagement helps me understand what matters most to our community, and it tells me that this information is making a difference in people's lives. Now let's begin with the first fruit on our comprehensive list. Although this particular fruit is widely praised and celebrated for its ability to reduce inflammation throughout the body, seniors may actually experience the complete opposite effect when consuming it regularly. Let's discuss pineapple in detail. 1. Pineapple, the tropical deception. The tropical, juicy, and undeniably delicious pineapple has long been celebrated and hailed as a natural anti-inflammatory powerhouse, primarily due to the presence of a powerful compound called bromelain. This enzyme has been studied extensively and is known for its ability to break down proteins and reduce inflammation in younger, healthier individuals. However, here's the surprising twist that most people never consider. Despite the widespread belief that pineapple consistently reduces inflammation, it may actually be the silent culprit behind increasing discomfort and pain for seniors. The problem lies in the combination of natural sugars and powerful acids that pineapple contains in significant quantities. These sugars aren't nearly as harmless as they might seem, particularly if you're over the age of 60 and your body's ability to process them has changed dramatically. Let me explain this in detail. As we age, our blood vessels naturally become more delicate, sensitive, and less resilient than they were in our younger years. They simply don't respond to increases in blood sugar in the same efficient manner that they once did. When you consume pineapple, it provides a substantial natural sugar boost directly to your bloodstream. While this might seem beneficial and energizing, what actual impact does this have on your aging body? It causes your blood sugar levels to rise rapidly and significantly. That sudden spike can potentially damage the tiny, delicate blood vessels that are responsible for nourishing your legs, feet, and the muscles throughout your lower extremities. As your circulation gradually deteriorates over time due to these repeated sugar spikes, your legs receive less oxygen and fewer nutrients than they need to function optimally. What does this lead to? The result is often swelling, persistent fatigue, and increasing pain throughout your legs and feet. You might notice that dull, dragging ache in your legs that appears after even the shortest walk around the block. You might find that standing for any length of time causes your knees to become stiff and uncomfortable, even after spending most of the day sitting down. Your ankles might start to ache and throb in ways they never did before. But there's even more to this story. In addition to being naturally sweet, pineapple also has a distinctly acidic quality that can be problematic for aging bodies. If you already have arthritis, joint inflammation, or any existing joint sensitivity, that acid can actually irritate and aggravate your joints even further. It's similar to adding fuel to a fire that's already burning in your knees, hips, and ankles, making the inflammation worse rather than better. After consuming pineapple regularly, some seniors report that their legs feel unusually heavy, almost as if their strength is slowly draining away with each passing day. There's something else you should be aware of. The famous enzyme bromelain that makes pineapple so popular can actually interact dangerously with certain medications, particularly blood thinners and anticoagulants, potentially making them either too strong and dangerous or completely ineffective. But here's perhaps the most dangerous aspect of pineapple consumption for seniors. There are no obvious immediate negative effects that would warn you of potential problems. You won't experience sudden acute pain or clearly visible symptoms that would alert you to stop consuming it. Instead, the damage creeps in slowly and silently, building up over weeks and months until you gradually discover that you're unable to move and function as well as you used to. The most heartbreaking aspect of this situation is that the majority of seniors remain completely unaware that their gradual progressive leg weakness and increasing pain may actually be directly caused by the very fruit they consume regularly because they believe it's helping their health and reducing inflammation. What can you do to protect yourself? While you don't necessarily need to eliminate pineapple completely from your diet, you should definitely limit your consumption significantly, particularly if you've been dealing with chronic leg pain, unexplained swelling, or gradual loss of mobility. The potential harm may seem small and insignificant, but it's very real and can accumulate over time. 2. Bananas, the misleading muscle helper. What about the next fruit on our list? If pineapple, despite its celebrated anti-inflammatory properties, can be this problematic for aging legs, what about a fruit that's soft, convenient, and universally known for providing potassium and supporting muscle strength?
This reputation could be misleading in ways you never imagined. Let's talk about bananas. Soft, sweet, and packed with potassium, bananas are widely regarded as an excellent food choice for active people and seniors alike. They're supposed to help support muscle function, provide sustained energy, and keep painful muscle cramps at bay. However, the reality for seniors is quite different and more complex than most people realize. Bananas are loaded with naturally occurring sugars and fast-digesting carbohydrates that can cause significant problems for aging bodies. This means that immediately after you eat a banana, your blood sugar levels spike dramatically, and your body begins to struggle with insulin resistance. When this happens repeatedly and frequently, your legs suffer the consequences, because circulation becomes compromised and inflammation increases throughout your body. You might experience noticeable leg heaviness and fatigue after meals, stiff and uncomfortable calves, and a persistent dull ache when walking or attempting to climb stairs. The symptoms can be subtle at first, but they gradually become more pronounced and bothersome over time. But that's not all you need to worry about. Bananas also have a tendency to promote fluid retention, particularly in seniors who have heart problems or joints that are already stiff and inflamed. The result of this fluid retention is often swollen feet and uncomfortably swollen ankles that make walking and standing more difficult. This effect happens silently and gradually, so you might not immediately connect your banana consumption to these physical changes. You consume bananas with the best of intentions, believing they're supporting and strengthening your muscles, but they may actually be progressively weakening you in ways you never expected. The worst part is that you won't feel these negative effects immediately after eating bananas. The impact builds up slowly over time, and by the time you notice the increased pain and difficulty moving around, the damage may already be significant. If your legs frequently feel heavy, painful, or swollen, it's definitely worth taking a closer look at the fruits you're including in your regular diet, particularly bananas. 3. Grapes. The innocent-looking joint irritant. While bananas aren't nearly as friendly to senior health as they appear to be, what about something even smaller and seemingly more innocent? What if something that looks completely harmless could have the same power to affect your joints? Our next fruit is small, cute, and innocent-looking, yet it could be quietly irritating and inflaming your joints. Let's talk about grapes. Grapes seem completely harmless. They're small, juicy, and incredibly convenient to eat as a quick snack. In addition to being tasty, they're celebrated for being heart-healthy, rich in beneficial antioxidants, and generally well regarded by health professionals. However, most people are completely unaware that eating grapes regularly can actually contribute to moderate leg pain, increasing stiffness, and joint inflammation in seniors. Why does this happen? The answer lies in fructose, a type of sugar that is processed directly by the liver and can convert into fat and uric acid when consumed in large quantities. This can be particularly dangerous when consumed in excessive amounts over time. The real damage begins when your liver becomes unable to process all of this fructose efficiently and completely. When this happens, uric acid begins to build up and accumulate in your joints, particularly in sensitive areas like your toes, ankles, and knees. This accumulation results in sporadic episodes of burning pain, persistent aching, and uncomfortable swelling that can make even light walking challenging and unpleasant. That persistent nagging ache can make your daily activities much more difficult than they should be. Have you ever experienced sharp, piercing pain in your big toe that seems to come out of nowhere, particularly at night? Have you noticed sudden unexplained stiffness in your calves that makes it difficult to walk normally? These symptoms might be directly related to elevated uric acid levels in your body, and something as seemingly innocent as eating a handful of grapes could be contributing to this problem. Fructose also contributes to persistent chronic inflammation throughout your body. This widespread inflammation results in joint stiffness, increased pressure and discomfort, and noticeably slower, more difficult movement. The problem is compounded by the fact that grapes are extremely easy to overconsume. They're small enough and tasty enough that you can easily snack on them continuously throughout the day. Before you realize what's happening, you've consumed 2 or 3 cups of grapes and all that sugar accumulates rapidly in your system. Therefore, while grapes might appear to be a perfectly healthy and innocent snack choice, as you age, they may be gradually undermining your legs' flexibility and making movement less comfortable and more painful than it needs to be. 4. Watermelon, the hydrating sugar trap. Now you understand what potentially harmful effects could be hidden beneath that innocent sweetness. Consider this connection carefully. If you've been eating grapes regularly, and you're noticing increased stiffness and swelling in your legs, there are other seemingly healthy fruits that have the potential to be equally problematic. Another fruit that's celebrated for being incredibly hydrating, refreshing, and vibrant, but don't let its reputation fool you. It might taste like pure water, but internally, it functions more like liquid sugar. Let's talk about watermelon. Light, refreshing, and practically synonymous with summer hydration, watermelon has become a symbol of healthy refreshment. But could this seemingly innocent, water-rich fruit actually be subtly harming your legs in ways you never imagined? Isn't that a strange and unexpected concept to consider? Everyone believes that watermelon is an excellent way to stay properly hydrated, and on the surface, this belief makes perfect sense. After all, watermelon is composed primarily of water, it's relatively low in calories, and it feels completely safe to consume in large quantities. However, here's the hidden trick that most people never consider. Watermelon actually has an incredibly high glycemic index rating. This means that despite its water content, watermelon causes your blood sugar levels to spike rapidly and dramatically, very similar to the effect you'd get from eating candy or other processed sweets. For seniors, those frequent and intense sugar spikes can cause serious and lasting damage, particularly to the health and function of their legs. Let me explain exactly how this process works in your body. When your blood sugar levels rise rapidly after consuming watermelon, your body responds by releasing insulin to try to manage and control those elevated sugar levels. However, as our bodies age and mature, insulin regulation becomes increasingly less efficient and more problematic. The result is widespread inflammation throughout your body, particularly in areas where circulation is already compromised, such as your legs. Where does this inflammation typically manifest itself? Primarily in your knees, ankles, and calves. You might experience significant leg fatigue immediately after eating watermelon, persistent dull pain during short walks, and chronic ankle swelling that doesn't seem to go away. Even simple activities like climbing stairs can begin to feel like you're trying to climb a mountain. Although watermelon has a light, refreshing taste and texture, it can actually function like a beautiful trap that gradually wears down your legs and compromises your mobility. Because it's so juicy and refreshing, most people naturally consume large quantities of it, especially during hot summer months. What starts as one slice quickly becomes 2, then 3, and before you know it, you've consumed massive amounts of sugar, creating stress and inflammation throughout your body. The situation is genuinely deceptive and misleading. While your mind thinks you're consuming primarily water and staying hydrated, your blood sugar levels are actually rising dramatically, your circulation is suffering, and your legs are paying the price for this seemingly innocent indulgence. The question you should be asking yourself is this: does watermelon actually keep seniors properly hydrated as advertised? Or does each bite you take actually contribute to increasing discomfort and difficulty with movement? If you frequently consume watermelon, and your legs have been feeling increasingly tired, heavy, and uncomfortable lately, it might be time to reconsider this seemingly healthy habit. 5. Oranges. The citrus acid attack. Let's move on to discuss a fruit that's intimately connected with health, wellness, and vitamin C in the minds of most people. This fruit is commonly included in breakfast meals, immunity-boosting beverages, and fresh juices. However, for elderly individuals, this seemingly healthy choice may actually represent a significant acidic attack on their joints. Let's talk about oranges. Oranges are bright, fragrant, and commonly featured in breakfast spreads, health drinks, and nutritional supplements around the world. They're widely celebrated for their high vitamin C content, which is supposed to help boost and strengthen the immune system. However, for seniors, particularly those over the age of 60, oranges may actually be hiding an uncomfortable and painful reality that most people never consider. Behind that appealing citrus glow and refreshing taste lies a significant amount of acid that your aging joints simply don't appreciate or tolerate well. Oranges are loaded with citric acid, and while this might seem completely normal and harmless, it can actually irritate your joints quietly and persistently, especially if you already have arthritis, existing stiffness, or any inflammation present in your body. The symptoms you might experience include chronic hip pain that doesn't seem to have an obvious cause, persistent leg pain that appears after extended periods of sitting, gradually increasing swelling throughout your lower extremities, noticeably limited mobility and range of motion, and gradual morning stiffness in your knees that makes it difficult to start your day. While you might naturally assume that these symptoms are simply the result of getting older, your healthy morning orange juice habit could actually be making the very discomfort you're trying to avoid significantly worse. Here's exactly what happens in your body when you consume oranges regularly. The citric acid present in oranges doesn't just affect your stomach and digestive system, it actually enters your bloodstream and travels throughout your body, where it can aggravate and irritate the sensitive tissues surrounding your joints. When this citric acid is combined with the fruit's natural sugars, it can also cause your blood sugar levels to rise, contributing to additional problems. The end result of this process is widespread inflammation throughout your entire body. Your knees, ankles, and calves become inflamed and irritated, making every single step you take more painful, difficult, and heavy than it should be. As you can clearly see, oranges may not be particularly harmful to younger people with resilient bodies, but they can have subtle yet significant effects on seniors who have aging joints and compromised circulation. The most challenging aspect of this situation is that oranges have been associated with health and wellness for so long that you consume them with complete confidence, believing that you're doing something beneficial for your body. However, as you're now learning, they may not actually be promoting your health and well-being as much as you thought. 6. Green apples. The deceptive healthy choice. What comes next on our list? This particular fruit appears crisp, clean, and appealingly green, and it contains less sugar than many other fruits. It's widely regarded as the safe, healthy choice for people who want to watch their sugar intake, but it actually conceals something that could contribute to hip pain, tight knees, and nighttime cramps. Now let's talk about green apples. Green apples have a naturally crisp texture and clean appearance, and because they taste significantly less sweet than their red counterparts, most people, especially seniors, automatically assume they're the healthier choice. They appear to be a low-sugar, wholesome snack that should be safe for everyone to enjoy regularly. However, most people are completely unaware that green apples may actually be quietly contributing to leg pain, joint stiffness, and persistent fatigue in ways that are difficult to detect. The threats come from two main sources: malic acid and hidden natural sugars that aren't immediately apparent. Let's discuss malic acid first. This particular acid is responsible for the distinctly sour, tart taste that green apples are known for. While this acid is generally fine and well tolerated by younger people with healthy digestive systems, it can actually be problematic and harmful for seniors' digestion and overall health. When malic acid enters your body, it has the potential to irritate tissues throughout your system, including the delicate tissues surrounding your joints. As we age, our digestive tract lining naturally becomes more sensitive and less resilient than it was in our younger years. Some older adults report experiencing severe, sharp hip or thigh pain after consuming apples, while others notice increasing stiffness in their knees or a mild burning sensation in their feet. The discomfort typically starts slowly and subtly, but as the acid continues to accumulate in your system over time, the pain and discomfort become more frequent and more intense. Next, we need to address the sugar content. Even though green apples don't taste nearly as sweet as red apples, they still contain significant amounts of natural sugars that can affect your body. For older adults who have slower metabolisms and less efficient sugar processing, these sugars can cause problematic blood sugar fluctuations and swings. The results of these blood sugar fluctuations can include tired, heavy calves, nighttime leg cramps that interrupt your sleep, morning stiffness that makes it difficult to get moving, and weakness when climbing stairs or performing other physical activities. The most challenging aspect of this problem is that green apples are frequently eaten raw as convenient snacks, or even consumed right before bedtime, which creates a continuous, ongoing impact on your body throughout the day and night. Despite their seemingly healthy, pure, and natural appearance, Green apples may actually be gradually making walking more difficult and uncomfortable, stiffening your joints and making your nights more restless and less restorative for aging bodies that need proper rest and recovery. 7. Mango, the ultimate sugar bomb. What about a rich, tropical fruit that's incredibly sweet and indulgent? If something as seemingly simple and innocent as an apple can have these kinds of effects on your body, what about one of the most popular and beloved fruits in the world? Let's talk about mango, which could be described as the ultimate sugar bomb. Mangoes are soft, incredibly juicy, and almost candy-like in their intense sweetness. This tropical fruit is enjoyed and beloved by almost everyone around the world, particularly during the warm summer months when they're at their peak ripeness. However, here's the harsh reality that seniors who are dealing with leg pain and joint weakness need to understand. Mangoes may actually be among the most dangerous and problematic fruits for your aging body. Why is this the case? The answer lies in the fact that mangoes contain massive amounts of natural sugar, not just a small amount, but a truly significant sugar rush that causes your blood sugar levels to rise rapidly and dramatically. If you're under the age of 30 and physically active, your body can usually handle and process that sudden increase without too much difficulty. However, your metabolism undergoes significant changes after the age of 60, and your body's ability to manage sugar becomes much less efficient. That intense sugar surge causes your insulin levels to spike dramatically and then crash suddenly. Every single time this cycle happens in your body, it creates inflammation deep within your joints, particularly in the soft tissues that surround your knees, hips, and ankles. This repeated inflammation can cause lasting damage over time. The symptoms you might experience include burning sensations in your toes, persistent tingling that doesn't go away, evening swelling around your feet and ankles, and a creeping sense of heaviness in your legs that makes movement more difficult. If you have existing nerve problems or neuropathy, mango consumption can make these conditions significantly worse. The deceptive aspect of mangoes is that they don't feel like a substantial heavy meal when you're eating them. They taste light, fresh, and refreshing, which makes it incredibly easy to consume large quantities without realizing the impact you're having on your body. This tendency to overconsume makes the blood sugar problem even worse and more dangerous. The trick is that this feeling of lightness while eating is completely meaningless to your body's metabolic processes. Your body responds to the actual sugar content, not to how the fruit feels in your mouth, and over time, this can result in unstable leg joints, persistent pain, and increasingly slow, difficult walking. Many seniors consider mangoes to be a natural, healthy treat that they can enjoy freely. While mangoes are indeed natural, that doesn't automatically mean they're healthy or appropriate for aged joints and compromised circulation systems. The complete picture and better alternatives. Now you've seen the complete picture and understand the potential problems. While some fruits are praised and celebrated for their health benefits, there can be significant drawbacks and negative consequences for individuals over the age of 60. The encouraging news is that the opposite is also true. There are many fruits that actively fight inflammation, reduce joint pain, and promote strong, healthy legs. Please share with me what you learned from this discussion today and what specific change you're willing to make in your diet. Let's support and encourage one another in this journey, because sharing our experiences and knowledge makes us all stronger and healthier. Remember, making conscious, informed dietary choices is one of the most powerful tools you have available for maintaining your independence and quality of life as you age. Your body is remarkably adaptable and resilient, and with the right fuel and nutrients, it can continue to serve you well for many years to come. Stay strong, stay informed, and always remember that your independence, vitality, and well-being are absolutely worth protecting and fighting for.